We have gotten to a point where we've made some progress. So things going pretty good. Actually setting up right now so we can put the motor on the engine hoist, and once it goes on the engine hoist, then it's going in the car. Got a couple things to button up on the motor. I already got the car replica off, got the air inlet off, got this on, kind of secured it down so we can pick it up with the engine hoist. Bro already got that ready. Got a couple things got to shore up, putting the plugs in, some oil galley plugs, and then also a flywheel. We got to get that together. Gonna put all this back together so we can put it in, everything down there, so that should be straight. Oh yeah, and actually got to put the set up the oil pan dipstick too, so it's right. So I'm gonna go ahead and do all that stuff, and then we'll be ready to drop it in. It's on the hoist, sitting in front of the car. Got the plugs in, working on the flywheel. Put that flywheel on, and we'll be trying to make sure everything's tightened up. See what's going on with this thing.
Never be going for armed robbery.
It's gonna be the last day it's sitting. It ain't on the engine stand no more. You can see that, but it's finna get off this engine hoist too. So, kind of did a last little check of everything. Made sure every little bolt was tight and everything, so that we won't have. Do the best to have no problems. It ain't but two of us, so you ain't gonna see too much of it being dropped down in there. Go ahead and get this thing together. Well, guys. The motor is actually in. Now, here's the funny thing though. That's the original oil pan. So, I fought the oil pan, and the oil pan won. But all in all, it's in there. The only thing is the flex plate that I thought was going to work, that I installed on a previous video, it does not have the same bevel as the original flex plate. But the original flex plate will not work because it's not internally balanced. So of course, I got the motor in, but can't keep moving forward because basically that's as far as I can get with that flex plate. So I'm gonna get another flex plate, move the transmission back, change the flex plate out. All right, so I had so the motor's in. Got the new flywheel in, and then also went ahead and put it on, mounted up the transmission, starter's on, you can see it right there. Starter's on as well. So basically the motor is kind of almost ready. You got to put on the accessories, got to put on the top, finish the top end, put the fuel system back together. Also got to connect the fuel system from the one to the back, and then connect it once this is on. Once the regulator's back on, also connect that one line that's gonna go all the way back to the fuel tank. So it's a couple things that still need to be done. Accessories need to go on, AC, power steering, alternator, all that kind of stuff. So that all will get put on as well. But it's Houston. You see it started raining on me. I had to get some stuff done in the rain just so I could put it back inside. And then, kind of get all these things back on. That way we can get this thing rolling. But motor's looking good in there. You know, in probably just a day or so, depending on how much time I got after work, I'm gonna be able to go ahead and see what this 351 can do. Today, what I really want to get done is to tidy up the fuel lines, make sure they're not in the way. Yesterday, I put on the exhaust system, the headers and the exhaust, so that way I can make sure that when I run the line from the fuel tank that's connecting into the V that's going to go into the fuel rails, that it is not laying on or touching any of those high heat sources and end up causing a Big Bang theory. So I want to get that done today, and then I also want to hook up this mess, the wires on the ProFlow 4 system. So, and actually I feel like if I get that done, all these wires, then I'll actually be very, very close to starting up and running. And first I'm going to start with the O2 sensor. Okay, so I'm sitting in the engine bay yet again, and I guess this is should be hopefully the last time, but right now I'm basically just putting the last of the AN fittings on the 10 AN hose that's coming from the back, and then the 6 AN hose that's going back to the tank. So this one will go in here, and this one's gonna go on here, and it's actually gonna connect to the V, and the V connects to the fuel rails. So hopefully that's the last time I have to get in here, but you know, anything for the build, you understand? I ended up putting the brain, or the, you know, the ECU right here on the fender well, along with a couple of the relays that go with it. My can't really see it down there, but the O2 sensor is on. All the injector wires are on. Pretty much everything except for the air temperature. And then I also got to figure out what I'm gonna do about this. This is the, get out the way. You know, this kind of goes here, mounts here, and this is my goes to the transmission for the kick down, and then also my throttle to the foot pedal, to the gas pedal. Right now, it's not reaching, and I don't know why. If I'm not mistaken, the intake that I had before was pretty much just like this one, so I don't know why it's not tall enough, but I got to figure out how to get a little bit more length on that so I can get that together as well. Well. So a lot has been going on, getting some final things together. A lot of stuff going on up under the car, so I hadn't really been getting video of that. But you know, transmission going on, pan going up, all kind of things. So, but you can see that's an alternator right there. And if you can see an alternator, you know that means that the accessories are going on the front of the engine, and it's getting closer to that start date. So I think pretty soon you're gonna be seeing this thing running. Even if it ain't moving, it's gonna be running. Custom fab, a little extender piece for the transmission linkage, using a few pieces of aluminum and metal to make the linkage work with the edelbrock system. another part of getting this thing right. You can see we kind of put a lot of stuff on, started wiring stuff up, alternators on, coils on, all that's going. Basically got a whole lot on. Still got to go get a couple of pieces, but I don't know, it's real close to being real close to crank up time. This was actually a pretty productive day. Got quite a bit done, a lot of things back on the car. Of course, need some more parts, but what's new? So, got most of the accessories on. Was trying to basically keep the same belt and not have to worry about deleting the smog pump, but that didn't work. The aftermarket timer, pointer, and the dampener, they use the same holes, but they mock up differently. So because they mock up a little bit differently, I can't use that bottom pulley, that bottom bracket the same way. And I spent quite a bit of time trying to actually get it all together, but couldn't do it. So you can see it here. I got pretty much the accessories back on. I am going to keep my AC. I'm in Texas. I am not going to be able to roll around with just the windows down for the sake of a few more horsepower. But everything's definitely coming together. I do still have a few things left to do. No spark plug wires yet. Haven't put those on. Still got a couple of wires that I need to run. That's an ignition wire. Tidying up some hoses, making sure that they're on, things like that. Oil cooler hoses. So a few things I need to do. And I had actually just went to the store to get a fuel pressure gauge, but luckily O'Reilly told me they was the ones that they had that have enough pressure gauge reading was $250. So that changed my mind real quick and made me remember that the actual ProFlow 4 system has a reading using that. So now it just saved me money because I'm not going to get one at all. But I do still have some things to do, even though today was very productive, like loose wires there. And then once I kind of get everything down where I want it, I'm actually going to come back through and kind of clean it up a little bit more. So when you don't work in a shop and you don't have all kinds of time just to work on your car, you got to get at it a little bit at a time. So tonight I'm probably only going to do 45 minutes, maybe an hour, but got a couple of things I definitely want to get done tonight. I had to extend these wires because they need to go over there, and they were pretty much reaching about right there. So I'm gonna extend those wires because I didn't have the exact color. I'm actually gonna end up heat shrinking most of it so it doesn't kind of look like it's two different colors, but I'm gonna make sure that that gets there. I am going to tighten up the oil cooler, put those on, and then probably also put in the power steering. And after I do all that, I guess then we'll see how much time is left. I still have to get the belt because I'm just going to delete the smog pump, get the belt for the AC, so probably try to mock that up as well. But get a few things done tonight before I go to sleep, and then be back at it tomorrow. Just for the MSD tip right there, they sent a tip with theirs. So putting the tip on, get that tip on there. That's gonna be, I think, the last thing. It's got oil in it, got transmission fluid in it, gas in it. You know, all the hoses been put on, pulley's been put on. Shoot, matter of fact, I guess everything's set for the battery. So I'm finna go ahead and stop this thing now so I can put the battery in. Battery in is when this last little piece of the puzzle right here go in. It's gonna be ready to crank over. Oh, gotta put some water in. Gotta put some water. Gotta put a little antifreeze and some water in it, but after that, it should be about that time. First crank. Crank that. Batteries hooked up. Seems like everything is sealed off. Put the fluids in, no leaks. I guess the first test is to see if this fuel pump turns on. So go ahead and turn on the key and see what happens. That didn't sound good. Okay, so update. This is actually the next day from that last video I did. And what you heard after I turned on the ignition, remember it kind of crunked, or it was running. You could hear a motor running, and then it wasn't the engine. Just want to be clear, it wasn't the engine, but you heard the fuel pump motor running. After that, you heard what sounded like somebody pouring water on the ground. Well, that was gas, and that was a big problem. But what you actually heard was the return line. The plan was, since I'm using, remember I mocked up something to use the factory gas tank. The return line was actually supposed to be put back in here. So gonna run it through here, connect it with a little bit of fuel line, and then run it to a 6AN fitting for the return line. Well, I never returned it. So that's exactly what you heard on the last little bit from yesterday. And trust me, I got up to look. It sounded like a whole lot, but it wasn't very much. But the gas that was down there, I got it up, and by the time I finished getting up that gas, I just kind of felt like calling it a night. So I'm back at it tonight, and what I'm doing is basically adding in this, which is part of the fitting, and then of course the 6AN fitting goes onto that. But the 6AN fitting has to go onto that, and then connects to this, and hopefully this piece goes in there without much of a problem. It connects very well. Then I should have my return line, and then I can get back to seeing what's going on with the engine. Okay, so we're gonna see if this works. This is now the return. So using this part here, goes through here. That's the piece that I put on there, and then that's the AN fitting, and that's the 6AN return hose. Yesterday it was just coming straight out of there. Now hopefully this is enough flow with the pressure that's on here in order for it to go back into the tank. So I'm gonna go up front, test it out, see what happens. So as far as I can tell right now, that is successful. I have let the fuel pump charge itself up, or I can't think right now, but turn the fuel pump on. I'm pretty sure by now, last night, it was already dumping out onto the ground, or at least in my garage, even worse. But right now, I guess it must just be kind of cycling through like it's supposed to. So gonna move forward, see what else we can do.